You've probably heard that old saying, justice delayed is justice denied. But what does that really look like? I mean, what happens when the very system that's supposed to give you answers just makes you wait and wait? This is a story about a Canadian Supreme Court case that gets right to the heart of that question. Seriously, just take a second and think about it. If you were accused of a crime, a serious one, what's the longest you think is fair to wait for your day in court? With that hanging over your head? A few months? A year? Maybe 2? Well, for a man named Marcel Godin, this wasn't just a thought experiment. It was his life. For 2.5 years, 30 entire months, he waited from the day he was charged to the day his trial was supposed to start. This is the story of that wait. Okay, so to really understand how things stretched out to 30 months, we've got to go back to the very beginning, to the moment the clock officially started ticking on Mr. Godin's right to a speedy trial. So back in May of 2005, Marcel Godin was hit with some incredibly serious charges: sexual assault, unlawful confinement, and uttering threats. I mean, these are the kind of accusations that don't just put you at risk of jail time, they can completely upend your life, your job, everything. And at first, things seemed to be moving along. A trial date was set for 9 months down the road. For this kind of case in the Canadian system, that's actually pretty standard. It looks like the system was working just like it was supposed to. But that was about to change, big time. You know how in every story there's that one moment where everything just flips on its head? Well, in this case, it wasn't some dramatic courtroom confession. Nope, it was a single piece of paper from a forensics lab. So, picture it. It's February 2006. The lawyers are prepped. The court has set aside 3 whole days for the trial, and everyone is ready to go. The case seems pretty straightforward. And then, just 4 days. 4 days. Before the trial is supposed to start, a report lands on the prosecutor's desk. And what's inside is about to blow the whole case wide open. The report was a total bombshell. A DNA analysis of a sample taken from the complainant right after the alleged assault found semen, but it wasn't Marcel Godin's. The DNA did not match. And here's the kicker. The sample was collected way back in May 2005. It took the prosecution 9 months to get this test done and share the results. This one report changed absolutely everything. So naturally, the original trial gets canceled. The defense has to have time to process this massive new piece of evidence. But what should have been a quick pause turned into this frustrating domino effect of delays that dragged on for almost 2 more years. I mean, just look at this timeline. It's an absolute masterclass in frustration. The trial gets canceled, and the earliest next date they can get is 7 months away. Then, when that day finally comes, the court says, "Sorry, we're too busy," and bumps the case again. It takes another 5 months just to get that single hearing done. By the time a new trial is finally put on the calendar, a full 30 months have just vanished. And get this, it's not like the defense was just sitting on their hands. Godin's lawyer was so concerned about the delay that he wrote to the court and proposed 31 different earlier dates to try and get things moving. The response he got? As he put it later, just radio silence. Okay, so we all agree 30 months is a long time. But the big question for the court was, is it legally too long? To figure that out, they had to look at the Constitution and the rules they use to decide what's reasonable. And this right here is the heart of the whole thing. Section 11B of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It's a fundamental promise that you have the right to be tried within a reasonable time. And it's not just about being efficient. It's about protecting people from the incredible stress and stigma of having a serious charge just hanging over their heads forever. So how does a court decide what's reasonable? Well, they actually have a kind of yardstick from a previous case called Morin. And for a case like Godin's, the guideline says the whole process shouldn't really take more than 14 to 18 months. Godin's case was sitting at 30 months. That's almost double the absolute maximum end of the guideline. So the next question becomes, who's to blame for this huge delay? The court broke it all down. That first 9-month wait for the DNA report, that's on the Crown. The next 7 months waiting for a new court date after that, that's a systemic delay, which is also the Crown's responsibility. The hearing that got canceled because the court was swamped, systemic again. Basically, almost the entire delay was caused by the state, not by Godin. Okay, so with all the facts on the table and the rules laid out, the Supreme Court of Canada was ready to make the call. Was a 30-month state-caused delay for a pretty straightforward case actually reasonable?
And the answer was a loud and clear no. The Supreme Court found that the delay was completely unreasonable and violated Godin's charter rights. The only solution at that point was to stay the charges, which basically just stops the case cold. The prosecution can't go forward. After 2.5 years, his ordeal was over.
The court was really clear that a delay this long causes real harm, what they call prejudice. First, there's just the human cost, right? The incredible stress of living under that cloud of suspicion. Second, his liberty was affected. He was on bail with conditions for over 2 years. And finally, it actually hurts the chances of a fair trial. Witnesses' memories get fuzzy, evidence gets old, it just gets harder to defend yourself properly.
This quote really says it all. Having a speedy trial isn't just a favor we do for the accused. It's about all of us having confidence in our justice system. When cases just sit there for years and years, it makes everyone wonder if the system is really working at all.
In the end, the case of Marcel Godin shows us something really important. Being on time isn't just about good scheduling. It's a core ingredient of justice itself. And it leaves us with a pretty tough question to chew on. What's the real price we all pay when the system meant to deliver justice is the very thing that denies it?